So we're going to go ahead and get ready to get started. I want to start right on time so we have plenty of time to answer any questions and make sure there's clarity in what we're presenting here today. So now I can say it. Good afternoon. Hey, how's everyone? So thank you for coming out to this town hall. As you know, about a year ago, we started the process for looking at, and we've been doing this for over 3 years, but really intently starting to put in place plans for a transition of our parking strategy on campus. And the important thing about that, knowing about that parking strategy, is that the focus here is on something that's not just 20 months. We've certainly got disruption through a significant excavation and building exercise on campus, but thinking about how do we build something that lasts for the next 20 years? How do we build something that helps us to overall better deliver transportation services on this campus in this context? And the context is we're increasingly becoming a more dense campus. We're prioritizing around academic spaces. And the presence, as you will see, the presence of just surface parking is lessening as we look to more structured parking. And that makes our parking infrastructure a lot more complex. And that means we have to have a better data-driven system to be able to manage that. So I'm proud to say that I think we're getting to a place, and there's always, whenever we change things, there's always bumps in the road. There are always things that after you hit go, you realize that people are people, and people do what people do, and then we have to respond to that. I think our goal is to try with a very small team to continue to be as good as possible at provisioning services, as good as possible at being responsive, and helping to shape an environment where, 18 months from now, when we have an even more robust capacity on the campus, then we'll say we well planned and well executed something that got us to that point. So we're still in that transition bit. We want to give you an update on where we are, particularly with the gate arm technology. And I want to just focus in on a few things. Today we're going to discuss an overview of the new gate arm technology, which is the park system that we're putting in place around campus. We're going to provide an update on daily permits. We're going to discuss the changes to visitor parking, departmental validations, official business use permits, the occasional parking program, and what is called the Elliott Society visitor access permits. And then, most importantly, we'll have a period of time for you to answer any questions. We've got the Parking and Transportation Services team here, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Now, one of the other great things that we did this academic year is we welcomed to campus a new leader for Parking and Transportation Services, and Director Gwendolyn Bolden. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over. Introduce to many, but welcome someone who's now an integral part of our community and leader of that team, Gwen Bolden, to come up and finish off our town hall.
So I'd like to introduce my team at Parking and Transportation. We've been really excited and working on getting everything installed and making sure that we have rules and regulations surrounding it, and we're gonna make it happen. So without further ado, I want to introduce Elisa Stratham Comer. Stand up and wave.
Come on, Elisa.
Elisa is responsible for special events and our enforcement team, and also some of our administrative aspects of the office. We have a very small office and a very small team, so it's a lot of hands-on and a lot of everyone pulling in to really get the job done. Next on our list, our next team player is Stephanie Hunter. Stephanie is all about everything transportation, so she's responsible for the shuttles, for the golf carts, any special rentals and charters that you need. Stephanie's our person there. And then last but not least, one of our greatest assets to our team, Mr. Bob Sparks. Bob is responsible for all of the signage and maintenance you see on campus. And we've been so impressed over the last few months in trying to get the signage together for the new parks equipment. We started off on a path where we were going to have an elaborate plan for signage, and we found out that we had a resource right in our own house that has done a fantastic job on creating wayfinding signage for our parks equipment and for our visitors coming to campus. So what's all this talk about new technology and the new gate arm technology? It's going to be installed at the Duck, Millbrook, Snowway, and West Campus. The system relies on RFID, radio frequency identification. It's a technology that is going to help us get our vehicles in and out of the garage easily. There's a chip embedded in the permits. So for most of our permit holders, they'll have nothing to do except drive up, and if you are allowed into the garage, into that particular garage, the system should work immediately and the gate will go up. One of the things that we will ask is that people slow down. What I've noticed on campus is that people speed through the garage. So we're hoping that this will kind of slow things down and people will take their time getting through. It is a system, so one car goes in, and if it gets tripped up, it takes a while for us to reset it. So we want to make sure people are going through slowly and giving the system a chance to work correctly. So the majority of our parkers will do nothing differently. If you're a yellow permit holder and you're going into the garage and it's a garage that you have access to, you'll drive up, it'll read your permit, and you'll keep going and you'll go on and park as usual. There are a small number of permit holders that drive cars that may have a windshield that doesn't allow the vehicle to read. We have this information that is going to be posted on our website so you can go on and look at the cars that are going to be impacted. That means you got to roll your window down and hold your permit outside in order for it to be read. When will it be in operation? We are starting. We wanted to make sure that we gave good dates. One thing that I said is that we will not roll out the program until we have done a notification to campus. So we're doing our notification, we're doing our town hall meetings, and we say that we're going to start the rollout on the 22nd with the Duck. When we do that, if by chance we get into the Duck and things are going as we hope that they go, then we'll move on to the next lot. We're not moving on to the next lot until we are comfortable in saying the Duck is good, we're ready to move on to the next phase. Our goal is to have this fully operational by the 26th. So Monday we start at Danforth University Center. Tuesday, if everything goes well, we'll move on to Millbrook and Snowway. And then Wednesday we'll pull in West Campus. Those may be shifted based on what challenges we run into. Daily permits, the daily hang tags that have been used for visitor parking and everything else. As of January 26, we hope that all of the garages will be operational. Daily permits will no longer be available for purchase, and they will no longer be valid. Visitor parking. Starting Monday, January 22nd at the Duck, all visitors will need to pull a ticket as they come in, so we have the pull and pay option. So they will pull a ticket to gain entry. They'll park in designated visitor spaces, and then they'll pay on their way out. That the first week while we're still testing, we'll have validations at the booth, so as they're leaving, they'll get a validation to exit out of the garage beginning on the 22nd. We wanted to make sure that we gave some clear information on where visitor parking and what to do in each one, because in some cases it shifts. We know that at the Duck we have an attendant there all the time, but we don't have that attendant at Millbrook and Snowway. We will have parking enforcement involved and there during this first week, but on an ongoing basis, things change based on what zone you're in. So this information will also be posted on our website, and you can kind of download this and use it to help your guests and visitors identify where to go and what they should do when they're parking. Our pay stations that are in the Millbrook garage are located, on the west end exit. And then we've got maps that show you exactly where they are. This also will be posted on our website. Snowway, we've got three locations at the west entrance. That entrance is going to be for official business, vendors, OPP, and other annual permit holders. And then the exit is for visitors, official business. The reason that we have separate exits and entrances for some permit holders is that if you have to pull a ticket, then there's only certain exits that you can leave. And same at West Campus. West Campus is going to be operational at the end of the week. One thing I wanted to talk about before I get to visitor parking, before I get to passport parking, in the garages, although we will still have the pull and pay option, there is after 5 we have open parking. We're not raising the gates. We are keeping the gates down during that time. So we'll be asking visitors to pull a ticket. It'll be set at no cost for that time. And they can park during our closed hours, so after 5 and until 7 o'clock in the morning. If they come in at 4 o'clock and don't leave until 7, they're going to be charged for that hour from 4 to 5. But we wanted to make it clear. We're doing that mainly so we can gain more information about how people are using our garages and what the need is there. We want to get as much information as possible. Passport parking. Passport parking is an option that we have put into our surface lot areas. So in those surface lots, and we'll give you a listing of where they are, but in those surface lots where we still have visitor parking, we want to make sure that we have an option for our guests to be able to pay for parking. We've removed the meters on campus, so we're going to watch a small video that kind of shows us how passport parking works. It's a really cool process, so let's take a look at that video. Got to click it.
This is Danny, and Danny has a date with Deborah, and they've agreed to meet in downtown Fairmont. Deborah's clued in and punctual, so she uses Fairmont's new passport parking system to pay for her parking. That's why Deborah is going to be on time for their first date. Danny just doesn't have a clue. And as you can see, he's in need of some change. And that's why Danny's going to be late for their first date. Oh, Danny. Oh, Danny. So, what is passport parking, you ask? Passport parking is a revolutionary and super simple new way to pay for parking. How simple? Account setup takes less than 5 minutes. First, you download the free app, available for both iOS and Android. On your phone, just search for Passport in the app or Google Play stores. Then use your phone number, email address, or Facebook to register your account, and choose a PIN number to log in. Before using the app for the first time, a 3-digit verification code will be sent to you. Once registered and verified, you can quickly link a credit or debit card and add identifying vehicle information to your account. Let's check in with Danny and Deborah and see how that first date is going. Oh, Danny. Oh, Danny. Okay, now that you've set up your account, let's pay for parking, which is faster and easier than setting up your account. After you've parked your vehicle, locate your zone number and enter it into the Passport zone screen. It can be found near the bottom of all Passport signage or a decal on your respective parking meter. Next, choose your vehicle. Then, on the duration screen, enter your desired parking time. After choosing your payment method, the summary screen will allow you to review the details of your transaction. And if everything looks good, you simply tap the Yes button to start your parking session. Maybe a change of scenery will help this date get back on track. Or maybe not. Okay, I already know what you're thinking. Well, you're probably thinking of a couple things. First, yeah, this date isn't going so well for Danny. And second, what happens when my meter is about to expire? Well, if you're Danny, I think you get the idea. But if you're Deborah, then you'll receive an app reminder, and you can choose to extend your parking session remotely. That's crazy, right? Gone are the days of rushing back to your vehicle to feed the meter, desperately searching for spare change that you have, maybe somewhere, and busking? Oh, Danny. Poor Danny. So, I know you're already in love with this new Passport parking system because it's just so easy. But you're really going to love this. Every single parking meter in Fairmont is now Passport enabled. That's right. You don't have to use coins anymore unless you want to. Welcome to the future of parking in Fairmont. And successful first dates. We hope. Oh, Danny. Oh, Danny. This is Danny, and Danny has a date. This is Danny, and
There we go. So that's Passport parking. Of course, it wasn't geared to our campus, or at least, but it provides a great option for us to use in our surface lot locations where we may have previously had meters or used daily hang tags. So daily hang tags are now gone. We now have Passport in those surface parking areas. Our goal is to make sure that we get our visitors in. It was my understanding that we wanted to make sure that we initially introduce our visitors to go to the parking garages on campus. We've got some areas that don't have parking garages, so we still maintain some surface lot parking. In those areas, we now have the Passport parking option.
Is that the only option in this area?
Yes, it is. Departmental validations. Starting on January 22nd, visitors using validations will pull a ticket in order to park. They'll receive a validation from the department that they're visiting, and that validation will allow them access out of the garage. I'm sorry?
Can you explain that a little bit more? What is department validation? How does that get
It's coming. So one of the things with departments have previously purchased a lot of the daily hang tags. So those daily hang tags that have been purchased, since July 1, we'll be replacing those with validations. So you'll be able to give those to your guests. Those validations that we exchange for dailies will not later be charged back to your department. Validations moving forward, not the ones that you previously that you're trading in for your dailies. After you've used those and you request more validations, those validations will then be charged back to your department at the rate that they're used. So not at a $9 daily parking rate, but if your guest parks for 2 hours, they'll be charged 2 hours for parking. During this time, we will have relaxed enforcement of visitor spaces.
I have a question. Do you have some hang tags left over? And so we need to exchange those for each validation.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just send those in campus mail, or do I have to go to North Campus to get them?
Could you repeat the question in the microphone?
So the question was, I don't know who was speaking, but the young lady speaking says that her department currently has some validations, some dailies that they've been using, and can those be exchanged through campus mail?
Correct, yes. That's what I wondered. Or do I have to go to North Campus?
Or does she have to come to North Campus to exchange them?
So you can put them through campus mail. Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, so you can send them back through campus mail, and we will be happy to mail them back to you, the validations that is. I would ask that you put a note with your dailies, just stating what department and what the department number was, just so we can go back and verify, and then we will send you the exchange validations, I'm sorry. I would ask that you actually send them to me directly, Elisa Comer, Campus Box 1200, just to make sure that it's getting handled the correct way and it's not getting mixed up with any of the other mail.
And you recently remember that it's per section 7.1 that you can't exchange before 7.1.
Before 7-1.
What if we enlarge it to be in 17 because it's back to the year?
So if they were attributed to FY18, basically. So we understand that there are some of you that brought them late June because you were buying for the fiscal year. So as long as it was attributed to FY18, she would have been charged them in FY18.
Gwen,
Yes.
we have a question from someone watching the live stream, and it's what happens to the system when there's a power outage or malfunction? So what happens in that situation?
So in the garage, when there's a power outage or a malfunction, we have the ability to raise the gates at any time. So when that happens, there's intercom systems as well. So
Actually, so the system, when power goes out, it is designed
You're
to
right.
fail up.
thank you, Elisa. That is correct. So they fell in the up position. So if there's a power outage, the gates automatically raise to the up position. Thank you.
We have another one. How do you validate for meetings that are not part of an event?
You want to take that one, Elisa?
Okay, so when a department orders validations, the validations are not particularly for an event. It is for any use that you need for visitors. So they can be used for a one-off meeting, they can be used for a group of individuals coming in, or they can be used for an event.
So our validations, to order a validation on our website falls under the event category. So, but it's not necessarily for a special event. It's any time you need a validation. A validation is a card. It does look like a chaser ticket. It's got a barcode on there, and it looks about the size of a credit card.
So a validation ticket is generally the same size as an entrance ticket. The entrance tickets for the garage actually say the name of the garage and that it's an entrance ticket. The validation will say validation. One side of the validation ticket will actually be a different color. So in the ones that we are currently producing, the other side is blue.
On the website, when it's like from this date to this, it's pretty specific on the request form. I mean, is there a way to maybe change that web form a little bit and say, I need this many tickets for various visitors that we're anticipating over the next 10 months? Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Yes, so that is doable on our end, but when you're ordering,
Would you repeat the question?
So the question was on the, uh-oh.
So for I work for the graduate school, so we have visitors that sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know, and people that turn around, oh, I need a validation ticket. So what I like to do is just have them on hand. So I know on the new, I went to this form this morning, and it's pretty event specific because it asks for like between these dates that you need them and this. So I'm just asking if I just wanted to order 10 to have for the year.
Right.
Should I just put like between like now and June 30th, and I need 10 tickets for various events, and that'll process?
so we are currently working on tweaking that form. However, what you can also say is that there's a comment section, and you can just say, I'm ordering these to be used for the remainder of FY18. You can put the date as NA.
Right. So then they're used for general use.
And it's the same thing, you'll be charged once they come out.
Correct.
Correct.
They're charged at the time they are used. Right in the middle here.
Hold on a second.
Oh, I forgot, Dedrick has to run now.
I put in a request through this online form for a large number of validation tickets. Since this is such a quick turnaround that you're going to start using it on Monday, January 22nd, how can I get my hands on them right away?
Okay, so
You probably know who I am.
what's your name? What's your name?
This is Sue from the Brown School.
Oh, so as a matter of fact, we are currently printing yours right now. So we have been printing validations ahead of time for the last 4 weeks, trying to get ahead of the anticipation of everybody clamoring for validation tickets. So we saw yours. We literally are in the middle of printing them right now. So if you need them before Monday, which it sounds like you do, you can certainly come by the office tomorrow to pick them up. Otherwise, I can drop them in campus mail. I just know that they won't be to you in time for Monday morning.
Okay, I'll come pick them up tomorrow. Thank
Okay.
you.
We're going all the way up top to Jean.
Gwen, I just wanted to make sure I understand the exchange of the daily passes for the validations. So the daily passes that we have now, we're going to hand in to you. We'll get an equal number of validation tickets. And the ones that we get from you now on the exchange, whether it's a 2-hour use or an all-day use, that's it. But when we order validation tickets after that, we'll be charged based on the number of hours that the person uses it?
Correct.
Okay, great. Second question is, the validation tickets that we ordered, will they be ready tomorrow because we need them for Monday morning?
Yes?
The answer is yes.
Okay. Any special time we have to come tomorrow or any time?
They'll be ready for you at 8:30 when we open up.
Okay, thank you.
There was a question over here, Dedrick.
Over individual tickets? Yes. Pre-July 1st?
So I've got older tickets pre-July 1st for daily parking. Am I just hosed on those, or what's the story?
So tickets purchased before July 1. We looked at this fiscal year. Stephanie being the other runner. So we were not refunding anything prior to July 1.
What's that?
Prior to July 1,
Yeah,
unless they were purchased for use for fiscal year 18.
I've got a packet left over.
Are you speaking of OPP?
Different subject.
Yeah, also, it said you're going to load up our occasional parking with hours. Do we get charged as we use that, or how does that work?
Correct. You would get charged as you use them.
And if you come in before 7?
I'm sorry?
If you come in before 7?
Then it doesn't charge you. It starts charging at 7 o'clock.
I have a suggestion. We have about 100 people watching this on the live stream and getting some notifications that it's difficult to hear. So if folks can speak up and into a microphone, that will be helpful to your colleagues across campus. I'm also going to suggest, just because we have a fair number of questions queued up here, with one request for Gwen to kind of go through the presentation to the end, and then we could get back to Q&A, because something tells me that a lot of the questions may be answered in the presentation, that we can go from there. Is that okay?
Thank you. That's fine. So official business permits. Many departments have official business permits. This permit currently allows you to park for 3 hours in any unreserved parking space, but including reds, if you're on official business. Has to be used with an annual permit, an individual permit. Moving forward, using this permit in the garage, you can park up to 3 hours in an unreserved space. You still must display your official business permit and your employee annual permit or Park Smart permit. When you exit the garage at the exit station, there's a QR sticker on the back of your permit. If you haven't gotten that QR sticker yet, you need to get that QR sticker for the back of your official business, and you can do so by requesting it from our office, or do they have to come to the office to get that?
No, so we can mail to Campus Mail. All of the current official business permit holders should have already been sent about 3 weeks ago the new QR code to put on the back.
Okay. So if you don't have that, request it through our office. When you're exiting the garage, to get into the garage, you will you'll pull a ticket. Upon exit, you will put your permit down so it can read the QR code on the back of the permit. If you're parking at Millbrook or Snowway, it must be done before exiting the garage. Wait a minute. And if you're parking longer than the 3-hour period, then you will be charged for that extended time, but not for the 3 hours that you're allowed to park for your meeting. Occasional parking program. So we moved to a hang tag for the occasional parking program, and between January 26th and February 28th, you'll be able to pick up your permit in the office. You need to bring in your membership card and a photo ID and the unused hang tags, and we'll take care of your unused hang tags for you. But I've gotten a lot of feedback on this, so we may have to do some adjustments here, but I want to make sure that I'm listening to everyone's feedback and that we come up with a program that's really going to work for our users. Our goal was to create a program where we're making it more beneficial to our users than less. So with the OPP, we were adding additional time onto the card because your permit is going to operate like a virtual wallet. There'll be money loaded onto the permit, and that's how you will utilize your benefit for OPP. Through this fiscal year, we were loading money on so you would have the time that you are entitled to for the rest of the year at no cost to you. So what I'm hearing a lot of feedback on is people have existing dailies that are part of their plan that they previously purchased. So we're looking at, we thought we had added enough benefit in there to cover that. So we'll continue to look at it if we need to make any adjustments. Upon exiting the garage with your OPP, it'll deduct only the time that you're parking there. So if you're only parking there 2 hours, rather than deducting the whole time or one occurrence is what you get currently, it'll just deduct the time that you're parking. Permit holders still have to park in designated visitor spaces within the garage. And unused time will not roll over. The permits will expire on July 31st, 2018. Elliott Society. So our Elliott Society, the visitors access permits, these permits will have access to the garages. Members are issued a visitor access permit that allows them access to the Duck, Snowway, Millbrook, and West Campus garages. The new permits are going to be distributed by A&D, not by our office. So if you are an Elliott visitor or know an Elliott visitor, then they need to get their permits from A&D. Resources. We want to make sure that we get as much information out to you as possible. We are updating our web pages as we get new information. So that information will be at parking.woolsville.edu. We're sending out mass emails when necessary. We don't want to overload you with emails, but when there's something that's a great change, we want to make sure that we send that out to you directly. And we're always posting new information in the record. This is the first of our town halls. We've got 2 additional town halls for North Campus and for West Campus. And then the recordings of today's town hall will be posted soon. Now we can open it up for additional questions.
Thank you. I've got a further question about the occasional parkers program.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that we'll be able to exchange our current hang tags, but I think you said we have until like the end of February to do that. But I thought the hang tags are no longer going to be valid starting next week. So what do we do if we? So
hang tags will no longer be valid. What we've tried to do with the OPP program is to put enough on your card that would be equal to what you are eligible to park with.
So that means we need to come in and get our new cards before our hang tags expire next week. So we have to do that right away.
You need to come in between, what's our dates? January 22nd and February 28th.
So we understand that we have quite a few individuals who are part of OPP who don't use it on a regular basis at all. And that's why we have such an elongated window, because it may not be that they would need that hang tag until that point.
Okay.
But yes,
okay.
You are somebody who uses it on a weekly basis or sometimes.
Right. I need to come in. Okay. And also for OPP holders, when you enter the garage, do we have a permit that we scan to get in, or how do we actually get into the garage?
So your hang tag is actually RFID. So when you enter the garage.
Okay. It'll just.
So your answer is
Okay, so as an OPP member, you will drive in. You have an RFID chip in your permit, so it will recognize you. It will raise the gate, and basically what it does from there is it will start counting time, and then it will take that time off the permit once you exit. So there is a virtual wallet that's attached to it, and it has a separate rate from what the rate is really in the garage. We've calculated it so that it matches what you were paying for OPP before that. Correct.
Can you tell me what will be the hourly rate that will be charged back to the departments for the validation stickers?
0 to 2. At the 0 to 2 hours, it's $2. So our rates are posted in the garage, but it goes up by 2-hour increments.
So 0 to 2 hours is $2, 2 to 4 hours is $4, 4 to 6 is $6, and then anything 6 to 10 is $9.
So with the occasional parking, you're saying that the pass that we will get is already loaded for what we are eligible to purchase for spring semester, which is 24 days.
Mm-hmm.
But what about all the already purchased permits that we purchased up until January 15th? When they were purchased, we were told that they could be used in the spring and that they would be exchangeable for vouchers. What about those?
That's what we're looking into to make sure. We try to make an accommodation in adding the money on to.
Because I've got $30 worth of purchase permits. That's 12 days worth of parking that I had banked on for work purposes.
So we're loading you with $60 worth of parking.
Yeah, that's for the spring, but that's not taking in consideration what was already purchased. So I was told if I didn't buy them by January 15th, that we would be forfeited the ability to purchase them, and we would be able to continue to use them in the spring.
So we've gotten a few questions on that, and I want to make sure that we've created a program that's going to be fair. So I want to make sure that we have some time to really reassess and see if there's some changes that we make in light of that.
And if we can't pick up our pass until the 26th, but we can't use our hang tags, our occasional parking from the 22nd, what can we do?
You can pick up your passes beginning the 22nd, right?
That's not what the website.
Did we change it to the 26th?
It said Friday the 26th in the email or the website. So I didn't know what we can do between that first week.
So our visitor parking during that time period, we're relaxing sighting in our visitor parking area. So
we can just come in and park in visitor parking?
Yes.
On the house? Okay.
I have a question about regular yellow tags. There are 2 of them. Number 1, what do you do when the system doesn't work for you?
There is an intercom at each entrance of the garage and at each exit. So you press the intercom button and someone will be able to raise the gate for you.
Will that be available in the middle of the night?
Yes.
The next question. You know, every once in a while I go to a convention somewhere. And I leave the car here and then take transit to the airport. Will I still be able to do that?
And you're parking your car in what garage?
Well, I'm yellow. Okay, let's take Millbrook. That's the one I usually park in.
Okay. We would ask that you notify parking and transportation if you were leaving your vehicle. Is that something that is? And you have up until 72 hours to leave your car there. If there's an exception that needs to be made, you need to make sure that you notify parking and transportation prior to your leaving.
Well, is there a maximum? Because I'm going to be going to a convention that's a week long.
72 hours is the maximum that you're supposed to be able to leave your car in the garage.
Well, in the past, I could leave it a week.
I'm sorry?
In the past, I have left it for a week, and that was okay then.
It was probably because we didn't know, but there's nothing that will happen to your car. We would ask that you notify our office prior to you leaving.
I have an OPP question as well. can that be used in the Wallace garage? Did I hear that?
I'm sorry, say your question again? Oh, okay. We are working on a solution for OPP in Zone 4, and also in our areas where we only have surface lot parking. So we think we have a solution. We just have to test it out. So we'll be sending that information out as soon as it's confirmed.
Okay. And what if in any of the garages the visitor parking is full?
You would need to go to visitor parking in another one of the garages in that area.
But what if it's not the zone you're assigned to?
You're still restricted to your particular zone.
But what if the visitor parking in the zone you're assigned to is full?
Do we have you would need to contact parking, and we would go from there. So your permit allows you to park in your zone in visitor spaces.
Correct. But
So
if those are full, yes, there seems to be a lot of construction parking in. Yes. Oh, yes, you can find something in Snowway, but if that becomes full.
So our parking is based on zones, and we've done a number of space counts and open space counts to make sure that we have the adequate number of spaces identified for visitor, for yellow, and for red. So if it happens that we are running out of spaces in a particular category, then we'll be looking at what we need to do to make changes there. But at this point, we haven't gotten to a point where we've had all spaces full in both areas. They may be full in Millbrook, but there's usually available spaces in Snowway.
Yeah. Gwen, we've got a number of questions from our folks on the stream about OPP, particularly just confirming clearly when folks can pick up validations, 22nd, 26th, how the OPP tags will be distributed, just a little more information about that.
They will be distributed from our office and should be available beginning on the 26th. Until then, you can park in visitor parking spaces at no cost, and we're relaxing siting in visitor spaces. We're still looking at the OPP program because what we've identified as a program that we thought was going to work, we've gotten a number of questions on that, so we want to make sure that we address the needs and that we also build a program that's really workable. So we may be looking at the $60 that we thought that we could assign to those permits and saying, well, that's not really working, so we're going to come up with a program that's going to meet their needs.
Thanks.
I have two questions. My first question is for visitors or anybody who drives into the garage after 5 p.m. They have to take an entrance ticket, so the arm goes up. How do they exit said garage? Do they have to put their entrance ticket back in for the arm to raise up? They don't need any kind of validation.
Correct.
Okay.
The time is set after 5 o'clock, that it's $0 after 5 o'clock, between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. So as long as they're parking after that time, it's just the rate is set at $0.
Right. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on how to exit.
Right. So they will pull a ticket to enter, and they'll stick that ticket in the exit in order to raise the gate to get out.
And then my next question was about the reimbursement of the daily passes. So I'm from admissions, and we had daily passes that we will turn in for new validation tickets.
Yes.
How will you know if we're using those validation tickets? Will you have those specific validation tickets grouped together that they will be marked as 0?
They're all coded differently. So the ones that we are replacing that we're using to replace daily hang tags, those are coded differently than the ones that you request for an event later on. So anything that we're replacing will never be charged to your department because it's
Okay.
already been paid.
For OPP balances, will there be a way to check to see how much time we have left?
I believe that there is. I don't know that way specifically, so I'll answer that question later.
If someone's parking in visitor parking, and they don't have a validation ticket when they leave, will there be someone in like a booth for them to pay, or how do they deal with that?
If they're at the Duck, there's always an attendant there. If they're at Millbrook or Snowway or West Campus, there's the intercom. So there's not the ability to pay with a person. There is a pay machine, and at West Campus, there's a credit card machine.
If you're a visitor and you're going to Millbrook, say, and you get up there and there is no visitor spaces left, but you've pulled a tag, and now you're thinking, I want to go to Snowway, but I have to exit, but I shouldn't have to really pay because I didn't park. Is there a system for that?
Yes, there's a 10-minute grace period.
Oh, perfect.
Sid, straight up the stairs.
So let's say I'm parking in the visitor space and I park and I lose my ticket.
There is a lost ticket fee of $25.
Wow.
Don't want to lose your ticket.
And you said you have to bring the ticket with when you come in to if a visitor is coming in, they have to bring their ticket with them, is that right? So they could drop them or something.
So they don't need to bring it with them unless they're taking it with them to pay before they go back to their vehicle. So in the Duck, there's no need to take your ticket with you. You need to leave it on your dashboard. In Millbrook and Snowway, you're paying at a pay station, so you'll want to take your ticket with you because you don't want to go to your car and then have to walk back to the pay station in order to pay.
Okay.
Then all that information is going to be on our website to tell you per garage what a visitor should do. So you can actually use that to send to them as a template. All the way up, Stephanie.
I was an occasional parker and am no longer an occasional parker, so I have daily passes from before this year. Am I able to exchange those and get refunded, or no?
The refund is for current members, so if you're not a current member, there's no refund on those.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yes. Oh, hold on.
So I just want to make sure I understand the validation for Snowway and Millbrook. So when I have a guest coming, I will give them a validation ticket when they leave. And do they put that into the gate arm, or do they have to go over to the pay station with it?
So as they're leaving, there's they can go to the pay station and insert their ticket there. At Snowway, there's also a machine as you're driving out where they can do it in their car. So they'd insert their entrance ticket, and then for payment, they'd insert their validation.
So the most convenient one would be Snowway, where you don't have to go to another state. I have parents that come with children, so I'm trying to think the most convenient place for them to park where they don't have to make an extra trip. Would Snowway be the better place? You'd have to stay in your car with your validation ticket?
They could stay in their car at Snowway.
Millbrook, they'd need to go to the pay station.
Millbrook, they'd need to go to the pay station.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have an exit on the south? No. Okay. South and west entrance of Millbrook also, you can pay in lane.
Oh, you could use your validation ticket on the west side or the south side? Perfect, okay.
And that information is on the website as well.
Yes, it is.
We appreciate you doing it. Other questions?
Thank you very much for your time and attention, and I thank you in advance for your patience as we go through getting the equipment installed and tested and running properly. So.
We understand that there's some questions online, and we'll make sure. We understand that there's still a few questions online. We're going to make sure that we get answers to those questions and get those out to folks. But again, adding to Gwen's thanks, thank you very much. Feel free to engage us if there are other questions that come up.